Happy Monday, everybody. I hope you are doing well by the time you are getting to this video, and I'm hoping I can maybe even make your Monday just slightly better with these top 5 NBA picks that I have for you today. Now, if you are new to this channel, I will be using Daily Grind Fantasy, which is a positive EV betting tool. And if you're not really familiar with it, you probably should be, because over these past few days, I've been betting on the esports, and I've already hit two 2x slips and then one 25x slip using Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer tool. And to be honest, I know nothing about esports, and that's kind of the beauty of this positive EV betting tool. So make sure you're jumping on this. And again, I have a code for you. You can use the code BENCH to get 25% off of your first month. And I'm telling you again, it is completely worth the investment. You need to be jumping on it. It's already made me so much money betting on sports I don't even know about. And really, we're going to be using that same model going into the NBA. I love the NBA, but I will still be using this optimizer tool, as well as checking some of the historical data from Outlier and looking at other projection sites like Betting Pros to see what they're giving you as well, kind of covering our bases across all of the grounds. So needless to say, let's go ahead and jump into this. If we hop over here to PrizePicks, you can see my top 5 plays here, and that's Aaron Naismith going under 4.5 rebounds, Mike Conley under 11.5 points, OG Anunoby under 6.5 rebounds, Tyrese Halliburton over 26.5 points plus assists, Karl Anthony Towns over 18.5 points. So again, as I mentioned, we're going to be using the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer tool. And if we look at the first play here, that's at Aaron Naismith under 4.5 rebounds. So if we hop over here, we can see that we have other plays that are higher, and I highly suggest jumping on these. But I'm looking for today's game. This Drew Holiday is your best NBA play that you can take right now with that over 1.5 3-pointer made. But that's a Tuesday slated game. I'm looking for only these Monday slated games, which Aaron Naismith's coming in as the top play here, under the 4.5 rebounds, coming in at roughly a 54.2% chance of hitting with an average juice of minus 139. Now, if you're making at least a 5-leg parlay, PrizePicks is really, their odds are at minus 119, right? So you're getting roughly a 20-point juice here in your favor with this Aaron Naismith play. We see other books coming in at minus 145, minus 146, and then dropping down to some of this minus 120 indicates that some of these books may be off, right? So anyways, your average juice you're getting is that minus 139, which is insane for this PrizePicks to still have this kind of at that 4.5, which, again, is a little bit flex. So anyways, if we look over here at Outlier and see what we're getting from this Aaron Naismith play, we can see here that overall this New York Knicks team is a very good rebounding team, allowing top 2 numbers, right? The second least amount of rebounds in all of the NBA. So Aaron Naismith coming into this game is going to have a very tough matchup. And we can see over his last 3 games versus that Milwaukee team, who is, definitely worse than New York Knicks in terms of rebounding, but still decent rebounding team. He didn't hit it in his 3 last games, but he did hit it in 2 out of the 3 prior. So went really 2 and 4, or hit the under in 4 out of 6 in those matchups. Now, if we look at kind of head to head, that's more so what we're worried about here today. So if we look at head to head, he's had 3 matchups versus this Knicks team, hit the under in 2 out of those 3. The one that he did hit, he had 6. And then interesting thing there, if we look at rebounding chances in that game, his rebounding chances really spiked in that game, going up to 14, where we typically don't see that for him. Usually he sits around that, 7 number, kind of just under the double digits number, which him getting over 14 definitely was the reason that we obviously see him hit 6 in that game there for him. Now, if we go over here to also Betting Pros, see what they are giving us as well, we can see here that the line is at 4.5. Their projections are at 3.5. So again, indicating a whole rebound under for him today. And again, I just really like this. We're getting good positive EV odds. Betting Pros is saying to go the under, and he hasn't necessarily performed well versus them this year, only hitting the over once out of 3 games this season. So if we hop back over to PrizePicks, see what line we have next, and that's at Mike Conley under 11.5 points. So if we hop back over here to Daily Grind Fantasy, we can see that we have to scroll down a little bit, get a couple of Tuesday plays here, but we have that Mike Conley play under 11.5 points coming at 53.71. So still getting pretty good positive EV odds here. Average juice of minus 137. So if you hop over here to Outlier, see what we're getting, you can see that over his last 10 games, really, Mike Conley has been very dominant, hitting the over in 7 out of his last 10. The under, he has hit 3 out of his last 10, right? But if we look at Denver, points allowed, very, very good defensive team, allowing the sixth least, but more importantly to the point guard position, second least in points allowed to that position. Now, if we look at really the minutes played, you can see that he's staying somewhere around the same. We still have not seen him hit that 35-minute mark in the playoffs yet, which is good for us, especially taking his under. Now, looking at field goals, I think, yeah, his best day is probably going to be this 10-digit mark versus Phoenix. His best was a 13, but Denver is a much better defensive team, and especially versus his point guard position. So in his last matchup, he shot 8 attempts, but really where we started to see him heat up, he shot 4 3-point attempts, made 3. So 9 out of his 14 points that he made were from threes. So really, if he were to miss one of those last games, he still would have covered this 11-point line, which is really what I'm hoping for today for him. Now, if we hop over here to Betting Pros, see what we are getting on his line here. We can see, again, line coming in at 11.5. The projections that they have are 10.8. So, again, still indicating the under for him today. So, again, that's my second play. Let's go back to PrizePicks, see what our third play is. OG Anunoby, under 6.5 rebounds for us. Looking at what we are getting from Daily Grind Fantasy, OG Anunoby, the next play under that, Mike Conley. We can see here coming at 53.63, average juice of minus 135. And we have some books really favoriting this. We see 2 books coming in at minus 152, minus 152, but really coming in minus 136, and then some minus 120s as well. Average odds, though, at minus 135. See what we're getting from OG Anunoby, though. Looking at his under, we can see that he's hit the under in 8 out of his last 10, but really he's only hit it in 1 out of his last 3. Really doing very well versus that Philadelphia team here. Rebounds to the small forward position. He comes into a really favorable matchup versus this Pacers team. Well, 10th most rebounds in all of the NBA. Overall, really middle of the pack, 15th. So nothing too special there. Rebounding chances, and that's really where, again, we start to see him kind of stand out more so than anything. Minute usage, yes, he's played a lot more minutes here recently. We've seen his minutes increase. He's coming off of that injury. Not sure if we can expect a lot of the same today in this Philadelphia matchup. But if we do, again, I still really like our chances. I don't see us having these rebounding chances numbers versus Philadelphia, especially those last 3 games that he faced versus them. So if we see what we are getting from Betting Pros for this OG Anunoby play, they didn't have their rebounds line posted, but I still think what is good, we're having they have his line at 7.5 rebounds plus assists. Their projections are just 6.6, which is still really good for us. So even they're adding the assist line in there, and they're still saying that he's projected to be under because his rebound line is right now set at 6.5. And even rebounds plus assists, he's sitting at 6.6. So I do expect that to be even less today for him. So again, getting a really good positive EV odds. Betting Pros is still saying that this is likely to be under for him today. So I am jumping all over that. Let's hop over to PrizePicks, though, and see what that next pick is for us. And it's the point guard Tyrese Halliburton going over 26.5 points plus assists. So if we look at what we are getting here from Tyrese Halliburton, looking at his points plus assists, he's hit this line 5 out of his last 10, but really he's hit it in 3 out of his last 4. Looking at his head-to-head matchups, he's played them 3 times this season, hit it in 2 out of his 3 times. Really, this game was maybe the most surprising, and I still remember this. That game this season where he had 23 assists and 22 points. So very rarely are you ever going to see where, a guy has 20 points and then still has more assists than he does points. And that was Tyrese Halliburton in that game. Not sure if we get that today, but that sure would be nice for us. But you can see here again, has done very well versus this Knicks team. And overall, this Knicks team is very good, allowing the second least amount of points on all the NBA, 8th least amount of assists. And to the point guard position, they're even better, least amount of points to that position, and the 4th least amount of assists to that position as well. Potential assists versus them, though, you can see again, 29, 15, 19, very good. Those are pretty much his typical numbers, sitting around those high teens, low 20s for him in terms of potential assists. Field goals, 17, 10, 14. I expect a lot of that same today. So again, if we can get these high assist numbers, double digits assist, I feel pretty good about today's line with that 26.5 for him today. Now, if we see what Betting Pros is giving us as well, we can see again here that is coming at 26.5 points plus assist. They are giving us nearly 4 points of coverage here at 30.4 points plus assist, indicating the over for us today. Anyways, though, that brings us to our last pick that I have for you, and as Karl Anthony Towns over 18.5 points. See what we are getting from Daily Grind Fantasy. We do have to scroll down a little bit on here. We have a lot of Tuesday plays and then similar plays here like the Aaron Naismith, like the Tyrese Halliburton. So we do got to scroll down a little bit, but we still have a play over 53% here for Karl Anthony Towns over 18.5 points. Average odds coming in at minus 132 here. See what we are getting from Outlier over 18.5 points. He's hit this in 2 straight, kind of hooked it in his last one. But versus Denver in that head-to-head matchup, he had 20 points. If we look at it, he's done head-to-head versus them this entire season. He's only played them 2 times, had 20 and 21. So he's hit this line in every single game versus them. Overall, as I mentioned earlier with one of these plays, Denver allows the 6th least amount of points. But we can see the bigger players like the center, point forward, power forward position. However you want to classify Karl Anthony Towns. I know he's kind of that weird tweener. I think more consensus says that he's at center position, but they allow the 23rd most points to that position as well. So coming into a very favorable matchup. Minute-wise, again, something pretty good here. I think that he played less minutes. Hopefully we can expect more minutes because if we look at his fouls, he had 5 fouls versus Denver in this last game. So minute-wise, I'm hoping we can see somewhere around that 35, 36 for him today, meaning even more points, more opportunities for him to score. Field goals here, again, that's about the same, that 13. Hopefully we can get a little bit more if we can get some more playing time from him today and he can stay out of that foul trouble there. See what Betting Pros is giving us before we round this off. Coming in at 18.5 points, projections at 20.6, giving us a 2.1 point edge for this line today. So anyways, guys, make sure you're checking out Daily Grind Fantasy. That is linked in the description below. Use the code BENCH for 25% off of your first month. It will single-handedly be one of the best betting investments that you can make. And I want to be a part of that process and help you out with it. So anyways, these are my top 5 picks. Make sure you're checking out that X profile as well, where all of these picks are posted 100% free. Nonetheless, I will see y'all tomorrow, and let's have a great Monday.